my name is Gisela and this is the channel Inglés para tu vida. Today I would like to tell you how I learned English. I remember that I was at school and my parents decided that I should attend a bilingual school. For me it was very difficult. I remember the first day of classes they were talking about the present perfect and I really had no idea of what it was. So my father decided that I should take private lessons. And I started going to these private lessons and I learned with a group of 11 students. For me, it was very useful and I could learn the language. Afterwards, I really loved English. I don't know how it happened, but I loved English. I remember that my sister, who is some years older than me, had different books with more level of English. And I took her books, I had a notebook where I started writing vocabulary, new words. And I remember that in those days, when I was 10 years old, I thought, one day I'm going to travel to the United States. And I started loving this idea. Well, afterwards, when I finished my studies at school, I decided to become a translator and also an English teacher. And since those years until now, I'm working as a presential English teacher and now a virtual English teacher. I created the channel Inglés para tu vida 4 years ago. It's going to be 4 years ago in May. And I created this channel because I thought that the majority of students sometimes when I was teaching at the institute or at the university abandoned the classes after the first month. So I asked them, when I had the opportunity to do so, why are you leaving? Why are you stopping your studies of English? And they said, well, there are many factors. First of all, this is a basic one or elementary one class, and I thought that all the students had the same level. So I really think that's false, because when the teacher is asking a question about numbers or the colors or the alphabet, they answer the questions very fast and I can't. So this class is not for me. Alright? So this happened regularly, month after month, year after year, and one day I decided that a good idea, now that we have this amazing platform that is YouTube, I can create my videos for those students, for the people who tried to learn English into the system of education, for example, and the people who thought, or the people who is thinking, well, that's not for me. That's for different people who have different abilities, so I'm not going to do that. So I started the first video. I remember that it was a similar conversation like the one that I'm having now, but in Spanish. And then I started my first class. The first class was about the alphabet, slowly repeating the letters one by one, etc. But with the years that I have here in YouTube, I can say that there was something that I couldn't achieve with the videos, and it was the interaction. I couldn't listen to the students, and the only thing that I could do is I can present the class and that's it. Try to be as clear as I can. But what about the other part? And so last year, in 2018, I decided to create a WhatsApp group. in which we can use the voice message button, and then they can communicate with me and we can have a real interaction. But after 1 year, the group is very reduced. Now we are 7 or 8 people who still work every day on listening activities, writing activities, reading, and even speaking, because we have the advantage of the voice messages. That's great. But I'm a person who is constantly seeking and looking for new ideas to make not the student but the people think that learning English is possible, right? What I've been listening to in these years is common. Most students said things like, I feel embarrassed, I don't like my voice, I feel strange when speaking English, I think that the other students are going to laugh at me because I'm going to sound weird. And I really understand that, because I had the same problem. Alright? When I was a teenager, I was at the institute and I felt really shy. One thing is the personality, no? Perhaps you feel that you are shy, that you can't express, not even in English but also in Spanish, so in English is even more demanding for us. I understand that. But to be honest, the only way that I can say that you can truly learn a new language, in this case English, is practicing it, trying to think in English all the time, and also be as much as you can exposed to the language. Whether if you are watching a video, listening to music, speaking with someone else, you have to be as much as you can into English. So what I can tell you is that you can learn English using YouTube videos or applications in your mobile phones, or the traditional way, going and attending English classrooms at the institute or at the university. That's okay. Possibilities are a lot. There are a lot of possibilities. But the real thing is that you have to be constant, right? Learning English is like going to the gym. When you want to have a perfect body or you want to be healthy, you have to go to the gym every day, get up early in the morning, follow a routine of exercises, a routine of the food that you are going to eat or drink, etc. And with the months and the years, you can get what you are looking for. In the case of English, is the same. And that's another point. Most of the students that I had in presential classes and also in virtual classes are like in a hurry. They always ask me one question. Gisela, when can I speak English? How long is it going to take? How many months? How many days? And my answer, the answer that I would like to give them is, it depends on you, because it really depends on you. If you dedicate 1 hour per week, perhaps it's going to take longer. If you do it regularly, perhaps the time is going to be shorter. It depends on you, right? It's something that depends merely on you. And it's not easy, but it's very rewarding. And also, what I can tell you is that if you learn English and you like English, the learning process is going to be easier. That's true. Also, because we can have a motivation. For example, I need to learn English because I want to increase my salary. Or I need to learn English because I'm going to travel to an English-speaking country and I need it right now. Alright, but if you really like the language, the process is going to be easier and very, very funny. That's true. It depends on that. Also, what I can tell you is that you have to practice English every day. You have to speak English every day. Perhaps a good point here that comes to my mind right now is like talking about the group of WhatsApp. If you have another partner or friend or relative who is learning English at the same time as you are doing, and perhaps you can have a WhatsApp group where you are going to practice, and that's your space for practicing English, for speaking English, only in English, like in the classroom, and that can help, alright? So that can help. I really recommend that. So get surrounded by people who are also interested in learning the language as you are, alright? What else? Well, this is personal, my personal idea. I learned English quickly, well, I think that it was quickly, because when the teacher sent me exercises or she gave me instructions to do an activity, I tried to follow the instructions as she said. What do I mean with that? I was working the other day using the WhatsApp group, and I remember that I told one student to write, but when I say to write, it's really to write. I mean, to take a notebook, to take a pen and write. Why? If you check in the internet, you are going to see that our brain works differently if we write, right? We can memorize, we can learn. The process is different than if we do it using our text. Writing text is different, right? You need to take your pen, to take your notebook and write. So I said, you can write, you can take a capture of the image that you are writing and you can send it to me using the WhatsApp. And this person said like, but what about if I speak? All right, but that's a different ability. And remember that in English you need to develop 4 skills: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. So try to take your time to write new words, new structures, vocabulary, etc. That really helps, and that helps for the learning process. So, what I'm trying to say in this video is that it's very important that you follow different steps in order to learn a language. What else? Stop thinking in Spanish. And that is something that perhaps your teacher told you once upon a time when you were studying English. Why? Translation is not a good friend in the learning process. That's my personal opinion. And remember that I told you at the beginning of the video that I studied to be a translator. But why translation is not a good friend when we are learning a new language? Because, think about it, I have to go to an oral exam. They are going to ask me about my family. Alright, so I'm going to say in Spanish, tengo 3 hermanos, 2 hermanas, un varón, mi hermano es ingeniero, mi hermana es profesora. Yo ahora tengo, I have 2 hermanos, dos hermanas, two sisters, un hermano, one brother. Okay, so have a look. First of all, I have to, well, my mother tongue is Spanish. So I put it in Spanish, then I translate it into English. I have to correct it in English. And then I have to tell it, or say it, or speak about it. It's very long. The time is longer, is more difficult, and what else? And it's useless, all right? Now, you can tell me, so Gisela, how can I think in English? I don't know, how can I think in English? All right, so you can think in English like you are doing right now, for example, talking about your mother tongue. So, in English, you can start thinking about a routine, what you have to do every day, and you start in the morning. I'm going to get up at 6 o'clock, then I'm going to have a bath. After that, I'm going to the bakery, I'm going to buy some bread, some eggs. After that, I'm going to prepare my breakfast. But as you can see, in these simple sentences that I'm saying, I'm not using translations. I'm not translating anything. I'm just using English. How? Because you need to practice. You need to practice every day, speaking, reading, writing, listening, until it becomes part of your natural learning process. Something that is natural. And naturally, you are going to speak in English. Let me give you another example. When you listen to a song, how do you memorize the song? Do you translate it? No. What do you do in order to remember all the lyrics of the song? Repeating it, being exposed to it. I remember that when there was a song called Despacito that I really don't like, I'm so sorry, how do I know all the lyrics from the song Despacito? Because Despacito was in the radio, Despacito was in the taxi, Despacito was in the television, Despacito was in every party that I went, and Despacito was everywhere. So I listened to Despacito so many times that I can sing Despacito and I know all the lyrics of that song. But I didn't study it, I didn't translate it, I didn't do anything. Just I was exposed to the song. So that's exactly what you have to do with English. You have to listen to it, you have to write, you have to read, you have to speak, and one day you're going to say, oh, I'm speaking, that's right, that's cool. So that's the process, that's the process. Finally, I would like to dedicate this last part, and I'm going to do it in English and Spanish, and it's about the accent. Another question is, but okay, I'm going to learn English, but first of all, Gisela, tell me one thing. Do you speak American English or is it British English? Because I need only American, and it has to be only American, or the other way. I'm going to travel to London and I need to be British English with a British accent, and tell me the difference. To be honest, and I have to be honest with you, British English, American English, they are different. Yes, that's right. It's the same as if you listen to a person who speaks Spanish in Spain and a person who speaks Spanish in Argentina. Which is better? Are you going to teach me the Spanish from Spain, or the Spanish from Argentina, or the Spanish from Mexico, or the Spanish from Colombia? So, that's no sense. There's no sense in that. Spanish is Spanish. No matter if you go to Spain, to Argentina, to Mexico, to Colombia, it's Spanish. Of course, that every country is going to have a different pronunciation, intonation, different use of slangs or different words. That's true. Listen how a Spanish person, from Spain, a person from Spain, pronounce zapato. And we, the people who are in South America, for example, pronounce it zapato. That's okay. We are going to understand each other perfectly. And there's no a superior language, an inferior one, a more commercial one. No, that's not true. So in English is exactly the same. There's no American English, like something rigid, and British English, that is, they are like enemies. That's false, alright? And another thing is the accent. Some students normally tell me, well, Gisela, but I feel embarrassed about speaking English because I think that I have my accent, my own accent from my country. And that's embarrassing. I'm not American, I'm not a native American speaker. So what can I do? So I have to tell you this. Have you ever listened to a Chinese person speaking English? Or have you ever listened to a Japanese person speaking English? Yes, and they have their own accent. Yes, and what do you think about English? It's English. They speak with their own accent. It depends also on the age, right, that you learned English. For example, if you were a baby and you were raised in the United States, well, of course that you are going to speak like a native speaker. But if you learn the language when you're an adult, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, of course that you are going to have an accent. And I think that you have to be proud of your accent. And you can also speak English with your accent. The idea is not that we imitate another person, but that we speak the language properly. Using the correct words, we can try to speak as much as we can with the pronunciation, improve our pronunciation, improve our intonation. That's okay. But we are always going to have our accent with us. And what's the problem with it? There's no problem. Even in the United States, there are different accents. People from the north part speak different than the people from the south part or the people from the middle part. So that's okay, no problem with that. So don't use that as an excuse. No hay excusa para aprender inglés, si es por el inglés británico, si no es el inglés americano, si mi acento no me ayuda, si no me crié por aquí, si no me crié por allá. Entonces hay que dejar un poco de lado todos esos temas que nos impiden aprender el idioma y lanzarnos a producir nuestras frases en inglés, las oraciones en inglés. Para eso, yo te invito cordialmente a suscribirte al canal Inglés para tu Vida. Recuerda que segundos antes que finalice este video aparece un videito sugerido y un círculo en el cual se encuentra mi foto. Si tú le das clic, estarás automáticamente suscrito. También debes presionar la campanita para que te llegue la notificación cada vez que coloco video, que como digo siempre, en Inglés para tu Vida es muy seguido. Pero también vayan a la lista de reproducción del canal, que están todos los videos segmentados del 0 al 100, del 100 al 200 y así sucesivamente hasta el 1250 que tenemos en la actualidad. Estoy muy contenta de hacer este video para todas las personas que en algún momento sintieron que aprender inglés era imposible, era una tarea que ellos no podían cumplir. ¿Y por qué les insisto tanto en el tema del inglés? Porque realmente nos abre muchísimas puertas en cuanto a las posibilidades de trabajo, mejoras en nuestras posibilidades de trabajo. También nos ayuda mucho a sentirnos que pertenecemos a una comunidad, a una sociedad. Depende el lugar al cual tú vayas a viajar o vayas a desarrollarte, pues nos sentimos integrados, no sentimos que estamos excluidos por no saber un idioma, y el idioma inglés es un idioma universal que nos abre muchísimas puertas. Si alguien quiere contactarme personalmente para hacerme alguna consulta puntual, me pueden escribir a inglesparatuvida@gmail.com, y mi WhatsApp es más 51 946 182 165, siempre para practicar alguna duda que tengan de pronunciación, algún ejercicio que yo a veces dejo en los videos. Y bueno, si alguien quiere practicarlo y le interesa aprender el inglés, me puede mandar alguna nota de voz con la pronunciación para chequear, para practicar. Los quiero muchísimo. Sé que este video ha sido un poquito extenso. Lo he tratado de hacer en inglés porque tengo varios videos en español, y me hubiera gustado que en esta oportunidad pues darles esta misma información, pero en inglés, para que se animen a hablarlo, a soltarse con confianza, porque es un idioma muy lindo, y a mí me gusta mucho enseñárselos a ustedes con todo cariño y con todo mi amor. Nos vemos en una siguiente clase para continuar aprendiendo inglés. Que tengan un maravilloso día. Bye.